All right, happy to be giving you some feedback, and you're right, a lot farther along and looking really good. Okay, so let's start with the cover. Um, you know, I like the paint, like the logo. I think one thing you could do is kind of let the logo be more of a focal point. It is, it is the focal point, arguably, right now, but we could probably make that stronger by simply having no paint behind arts or MI. So, in other words, the paint would start up here and come and maybe splash down to this point, and then maybe start over here and come down to here. And that way, this would have the highest point of contrast, the darkest dark to the lightest light, making that more of a focal point. The other thing is, there's only like two stages here, this and this text. So let's just add one stepping stone here, and let's take the volume number and winter, and you might want to kick this up to 2020 or 2019. How's that? Um, and maybe just set it right here. Um, I'm tempted to use blue, but if blue on blue, you're not going to see it, so yeah, I have to stay black. Uh, Somehow I am tempted to bring in a stripe, maybe above this one, not overlapping it, just above it and small of your blue because you use that a lot inside the document. So, like this stripe of blue, these stripes. Um, so, usually, whenever possible, I try to introduce many of the theme elements on the cover, and you are. You got the circle, you got the typefaces you're using, and you got the splash paint. So, that's awesome. I'm just trying to sneak one more in there if I possibly can. Okay, right here, nice breakdown, nice flow. Notice how this goes from left to right, top to bottom, just flows right in. It's rare that you can get a pull quote into an intro spread and still have it work well. I'm kind of concerned about the fold line. I don't want the fold line to be right there. Maybe it's so check that out. Make sure the fold, this type, the body copy's not over the fold. You don't want body copy on the fold. Um, One thing I would do for two reasons: one, to get rid of this widow, and two, um, to make these lines easier to read. I counted this line of characters from maintain to campaign, and we're at over 100. So we should be roughly around 72. So instead, what we're going to do is we'll just increase the size of this type and make it one more, a few more points bigger. That's not going to stop this. Maybe you'll have, instead of 3 lines, we'll drop 2 lines. The M will, so the M will stay the same size. I don't know. Experiment and you'll get rid of that. And then watch out here. You got another widow. You could just strengthen our wonderful community. There you go, wonderful. And now we have 2 words and we won't have widow. All right, good flow. Good. You keep using stepping stones. I'm really impressed. Good job. This stripe does seem a little high. I would lower it. It seems too tight to that body copy right there. And it seems too tight to the text. So if you just lower it, you win here and you'll win with the gap there. This is looking really good. You might want to differentiate a few things, like if there's anybody, maybe names in bold versus titles in italic or something. I don't know. Good, good, good. Now this blue starts to fade back, and instead of acting as a stepping stone, it's just like this almost optical trick where instead of being stronger, it's actually weaker than the body copy. One way you can solve that problem is to take this blue in your swatches, duplicate it, then edit it. So double click on that new edit, duplicated square in your swatches, and then it'll bring up the CMYK numbers. Just increase the black, the K, 10, 20, and this apply that only to where this blue is in small. You'll notice that to the human eye, this blue and this blue and this blue will all match, and there, you won't have that issue. Um, Now, from a printer's standpoint, that's kind of crazy, unless they're just doing, traditional printing. That would drive them nuts. But whatever, we're not thinking about that now. So, okay, here, good, nice. These are all very good. Again, this is the same place where that blue is just a little bit on the light side, and the gap needs to be a little bit bigger right there, and just a little more breathing room, maybe more breathing room here. Wonderful flow. Because you have so much space, you might make one of these a little bit bigger, and you could do that by just increasing body copy on the first paragraph, so it has an intro paragraph and a secondary. So think about that. It's nothing that you have to do. In fact, I want you to save this version and then do the other one and compare. It might not be better. It might be a little awkward, but try it. But I'm really impressed that you have two different types of stepping stones here. It's a really good way to use variety. Oh, and I'm also impressed with that you used the blue in Illustrator, and you got that right. Good job. All right, these, you might want to make this a stronger title, this grant breakdown. And if I could bring a ruler here, I'd want to make sure that all the tops of these all lined up. And this, to me, might be optical, is higher than that, which is higher than this one. And maybe it's just in my head, but I think this one's a little bit low. So maybe make this guy bigger, so I know that this is the title for all the stuff on the page. Oh, and Corporate Circle's another one. So make it bigger too, so I know it relates to all the rest of the stuff that follows. All right. And that would probably apply to this one as well. And you might want to differentiate a few. I know I'm probably driving you crazy. But maybe some names in bold. And then isn't there one other thing? There's some kind of little statement that goes along with the asterisk. It says, it explains why some of these have asterisks and why some don't. And I don't see that. Usually people put it right about here. And I'm not seeing that in yours. So I might send it to you. I'll figure it out and send it to you so you can include that right there. And sometimes people, this could take a while, call those out. And the reason they would want to call those out as a MI Arts organization is because, hey, here's second-time donors donating for a second year in a row. Look how much money they're giving. We want to reward them for doing that, so they become third-year donors. And those that donated for the first time donate next year. Really nice, classy. I would put consider, maybe you feel it's a little tacky here. I don't know. I think a small pair of scissors would be appropriate to indicate cut and dotted line. And the dashes seem a little big, a little thick to me. I'd probably reduce them by half and maybe make it a gray dotted line. I keep the scissors in black, and I'll show you those scissors in a little bit. Really great back cover. So the only issue I have is I wouldn't quite know. There's a few clues here and here. That should be MI Arts 20th anniversary, not Arts Fund. There's a couple things that we're going to try to do, and that is let people know that this is MI Arts. So maybe the very same information that you have on the cover, MI Arts, and the email or web address or whatever, goes down here too. So they can just say, oh, this, if they look at, say they get in the mailbox, they're looking at the backside, they know it's MI Arts. Okay, that's all. All right, now on to the scissors. Let's jump over to Illustrator. Oh boy, you're going to see something I'm working on. Oh boy, okay. I'm redrawing one of my daughter's artworks here. Okay. I guess I don't have it. So I will. It's called Font Tester, and I'll send this to you. What I've done is I've pressed every single key in the keyboard related to a type character. And then you can select that type, and with your type tool, you can change that's Zap Dingbats right now, or you could go to Open Sans, and you can see all the hidden characters available to you. And the reason I picked Zap Dingbats is because it has these scissors, and I would use a scissor. And how would I do it? I'd grab it here and copy it, and then go over to InDesign and paste it, and then move it around till you get it in the right spot. So, that could solve that problem. But overall, the piece is looking really good. A lot of unity, harmony, theme. There's good hierarchy, good flow for the most part. This is probably the roughest page on that, but even then, you still manage to have the viewer flow through, so that's awesome. So yeah, looking good. Keep it up. Thank you. Oh, watch out for widows.